Hey everyone, Cynthia Miller here from Shift Your Core Academy, and we've got a really quick and easy watercolor we're going to do today. I've got my ruler out already. I said it was going to be easy and then I brought that out. All I want you to do is check the angles of your windows. Just pick a vanishing point in the distance and direct all of your lines from one window, and then do the same with the other window, and a different point if you want. Yeah, I think it needs to be a different point. We're going to start right away with wetting down the sky area. And I think, like I said, the number one trick is getting those window frames to point the right way so it looks like an open window. But we've got the view without any window pane, we've got the view through the window pane, and then we've also got a little bit of color behind the curtain. And so it's a really lovely sort of way to look at it. All these pieces like a puzzle that fit together. So we're going to choose a light color for the sky. We don't want to take away the focus of the beach and the water by having a crazy sky. So keep your sky really light blue. I just got some new blue and I'm dying to try it out, but it is for the ocean, so I'm going to save that. This is the sky, light phthalo blue. That's going to go on the sky. You're going to start at the top. It's going to be a little bit more pigment at the top, and then sort of disappear into nothingness on the horizon. So I'm just pulling that up from the horizon so it sort of spreads down, but very lightly. And so I'm going to fill in just a tiny little bit through the panes of glass. Just a tiny little bit of the sky. And so we've got the sky, we've got the horizon, then we've got the water, then we've got the rocks, and then we've got the sand. And each of those layers has the layers through the open window and through the panes of glass and then through the curtains. So like I said, it's like putting pieces of the puzzle together. And I know it's not very easy to see this, but we're just simply doing a light blue color on the sky, both through the glass and open. So I'm looking at the colors. This is my new cerulean blue, and it's been described as the color of the Mediterranean Sea, and so it's perfect for the water in this beautiful beach house view. And I imagine that we're there. The breeze is blowing, it's fresh and it's warm, and it's just such a beautiful feeling to be at the beach, be grounded, yet feel that energy of the water, and just applying this beautiful blue. And it's so, this kind of a painting, you don't need very much paint mixed up, so don't worry about the volume of paint. We're just putting a touch on the horizon. It's going to be darker at the horizon, and then just bringing it down. This is the next piece of the puzzle. We've got the space where it is looking through the open window, and then on either side of these blue squares that you see, it's going to be looking through the glass. So it's going to be a little bit lighter shade. And I hope that you were able to do that with the sky. The shade will be a little lighter, and you can actually go over the panes of glass with a light white to make it look like you're looking through the glass. And so I really love the different pieces of this to try to make them all look like they belong there, from very light color, medium color, and darker color, through the curtains, through the window glass, and then through the open window. So just play with it. It's just little squares, filling in the squares with the right tone. And we're going to go over the frames of the windows in white, so it will help to really define the window too. And so here I'm just dabbing on this beautiful cerulean blue. I've got wet paper, and I'm letting it run down from the horizon And the next piece that we'll do after the ocean dries will be the sand, a nice light sandy color. And so here I'm just putting it on either side of these blue squares. And it's a little bit lighter because you're looking through the glass. And make sure that you bring it down enough that you should have just very light guidelines where you're going to have the curtains or the drapes or the shears or whatever you want to call them. Make sure that you bring your colors out so that the color is behind the sheer. So when you're looking at the picture, you can see the color on the other side of the sheer. We haven't done the shears yet. We'll do them last. So we're going to do the frames and the water and the sand and the rocks first. We'll do the shears last. And we'll also be coloring the wall. It's going to be a really light turquoisey color. So just coming down with a little bit of green now. I use sap green a lot for water, and I also use dusk green if I want it to be darker, but I think I'm just going to stick with the sap green with this cerulean blue to make the look of the ocean. So it's quite deep blue on the horizon, and then coming down towards the rock, it's going to be a little bit more green, and you can sort of pick up the color a little bit with a clean brush and put some highlights in the blue. And here I'm just pointing out where the next piece of it will be. We have the rocks and then we have the sand, and I'm going to do the sand first because I want the rocks to be on top of the sand, and I want the water to dry too. So I'm just going through my colors here. This is a no-name beige, sort of a color with a little touch of yellow, a touch of brown, lots of water, and I'm just going along the outside of the window. So this would be along the outside ledge of the window, and it will go towards the rocks. So it'll be at the base of the rocks. And this is just a really light color, and just paying attention to a little bit darker where the rocks and the sand touch, and then again through the window it'll be a little bit lighter. And just play with that. You can put a little bit of shadow in the sand as well, in the open window part of it. Make it look, you don't want it to look like just perfect beige color. You want to have a little bits of roughness here and there. And especially, like I said, at the base of the rocks, it will be a little bit darker there. And so by now your water should be dry, and you can let the sand dry. It shouldn't take too long because really we're just putting on very light layers. So this is the color of the stones. I use my other new shade, Sepia, and it's sort of like a brown gray color. And so I'm putting the colors together just to make sure they look okay. If it's sort of what I had in mind. I really like this chart that I made. Out of all the colors that I have, I've got them all mapped out on artwork, on art paper, so that I know what they look like. And I really think this is a good idea. And so here I'm just using a smaller brush and putting in round shapes to make it look like the rocks. And I think of our coast here, we have black rocks. They're gray. There's lots of, maybe soil between them. There's lots of sand here, and it really is, could possibly be somewhere around my neighborhood here looking out this window. In fact, yeah, that's what I see when I look out my window. Maybe not right down to the shoreline, but I can see other shorelines across the inlet. It's such a beautiful feeling to be at the water, and so I really hope that this helps you to take you away to be at the water while you're painting this. It looks complicated, but I found this to be quite basic and simple, easy to sort of comprehend, having the open window, and as long as those open windows are facing so that it makes sense. And I eyeballed it a little bit, but I did take my my ruler and make sure that they all go towards the same point. So that's basically a lesson in perspective, is to get these windows facing properly. So I'm just finishing up the rocks. There's not, I think I have to go a little bit behind the pane, but just kind of work on it piece by piece. It's coming together. And now I'm just pointing out the pole. We've got the curtains come in a certain distance there, so you have to sort of plan that out. Do I have my colors going out far enough as to where I have plans to do the shears? So what I'm doing now is basically the wall that this window has been built in. And I do have a pole at the top that I want to remain white, and I realize when I'm doing this that I should have taped this down, but I'm doing a very light wash, and it's going to be lighter at the top. I'm going to try to make those brush strokes look like they're just sort of disappear into the next one. So it has to have, you know, just the right amount of water, color, pigment, and movement. So yeah, it's a beautiful sort of aqua color that I chose to put on the wall here. And underneath the window is where it's going to be the darkest. And as you can see, I'm filling that in, going over it again, just to make sure that the top looks like it belongs to the bottom and vice versa. And going around where that white pole is, the pole holding the shears. Just make sure that you've got all that lined up. Now, you could put it behind the white shears, but I chose to leave a little bit of white paper where the shears are, so it actually looks like there's some bulk to the shears instead of just see-through. So what I'm going to do now is go through with my gouache white, and the gouache white is opaque, so it can cover the frames of the window quite nicely. And I do the open frames, I do the ledge, I do the pole, I do all the white trim that I want to show up in white. And so there we go, nice close-up. As you can see, the wall has some color, and just very, very little color. But I like the way that shows off the shears. So we'll just work through this. We have classes every Thursday, and live on Zoom. So I want to make sure you know about that. And as I said earlier, the templates for my designs are available under the free stuff tab on shiftyourcore.com. And I just love doing my art, and I love sharing it. So hopefully this will be of benefit to your craft as well. I really like the way that art helps me to still my mind, and by committing to being here for you, it helps me to stay consistent and do this more. That is my intention, to just keep painting. So I'm finishing up the white around the frames, and I've done the pole, and it really helps to brighten it up. And now I'm just painting a little bit of a shadow underneath the windowsill. When you're looking out a window, everything that is, you know, not in the light is quite dark, and that's usually the same wall that the window's at. So I want that illusion that there is a shadow underneath my window. And I probably could have made that a little bit darker looking at this, but it does help to define that that's the window ledge. And now I'm just putting on a little bit of water and letting that come down, just to make it look like there's a bigger shadow there. I'm just blending that in nicely. It's a wall, so, you know, it's going to have marks and indentation, so don't worry about it making it look too perfect. I ended up taking the water all the way down because I wanted to blend it. So just play with that, but it is the darker area. The space above the window could have been darker too, but I didn't want to make it look like it was sort of stripy looking. Just more that there is that shadow underneath. And I wanted to put a bit of shadow underneath the pole as well, and the top of the window. Again, I'm not trying to make it look too dark. I think that the top part of a room is lighter, but there is a bit of shadow where anything touches and causes that shadow look. So just putting pigment in, spreading it around, picking it up a little bit here and there. Okay, so once your wall is dry, completely dry, we're going to put on the curtains, the shears, and we've got just such a light Payne's gray here, and we're going to play with the ruffles a little bit. Lots of water on top, and just as you can see, my brush going back and forth, I'm bringing down one flat and then another flat on top of that, setting the sort of outside boundaries of the curtain, and you can see how that creates a hard line right where the outside of the white. So adding some more water and just, you know, trying very hard to keep some white on the paper, playing with those ruffles. I've got lots of water up there, so they're going to blend a little bit. They're going to sort of be fluffy above the pole. They're gathering on the pole, and you can make them sort of swoop out a little bit. If they sort of don't, you can see it's a straight line down. If you sort of swoop them out a little bit, it will help to make it look like they're blowing in the breeze. So obviously the key here is to make it so that it looks like they're shears. Just a very light application. I'm doing the same with the other side, setting up the outside perimeter of the curtain, and then I'll go in and put the ruffles at the top on this one. And I really like the way this turned out. It, you know, I think we have to sort of let things just take on their own shapes, the water and the colors, and then just leave it. If you got enough water on there and you give it some pigment to sort of swoosh it around a little bit, just see how it turns out. Just let it be. And I think sometimes we just have to remember that. It's the same as life. Sometimes we just have to let things be. Let people find out in their own way what they're doing in their life. We can't be controlling everything. And so this is a really nice way to sort of let your paints teach you that. And yeah, just finishing up with a few more ruffles up there. I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you can come to the website and see what we're doing. We have new moon meditations every month. I talk about different health ideas and tips that interest me, and I hope they help you in some way. And yeah, we do a meditation that helps to set an intention, give you focus and clarity on what it is that you want to create. So please join us sometime. It's a great way to honor yourself and look after yourself. Now, I wanted to just add one thing to this painting. I didn't show you how to do the binoculars or the sailboat. And, you know, you can put anything out there. You could put a person on the beach. You could put a boat. But I think the addition of the binoculars really helps to put some people there. You know, make it look like you can just pick those binoculars up and have a look out on the ocean. So to paint the binoculars onto the ledge of this beautiful window, what you can do is get a piece of paper and draw out a pair of binoculars. What you want to take into consideration is how big an adult would be at that window, and then what size those binoculars would be. Draw them out and then cut them out and place them on the window. And if they look about the same size that you're looking for, then simply trace around them and then paint them black. They don't have to be completely black. And don't worry about the strap. You can add that once you paint them on there. And that should do it. So I hope that helps. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had fun at the beach today.